Mike with 3G at Chutney Court, taking a look at structural integrity of this home, just making sure there's nothing alarming. So I've already walked the entire house, and so a couple things that I do is I always check the actual foundation. That's the lower part underneath that conduit right there. Let's see if there's any cracks. And the only cracks that I've been able to find as far as the foundation that I can see is this side has some hairline cracks, which don't even really concern me very much at all. This one right here, right in the center of the house, but I consider that a hairline crack. Those don't bother me too much. However, I would seal it up with a sealant to keep water from ever getting in there. And it never hurts to keep an eye on this stuff anyways. Underneath the slab back here, the flatwork actually has positive drainage, which is good. It looks like some of the dirt around this part of the slab, which has nothing to do with the structural integrity, but I can't help but to notice these things because we do a lot of flood mitigation. It doesn't look like it's holding the bottom very well, so that really needs to be filled in, and just make sure the water drains away from all components of the main dwelling, the foundation especially, and even the flat work or the slabs or sidewalks, driveways. It's always good to just make sure that water drains off and away from those components. So this looks like it's had some movement in the past. I'd have to look at the plans of the deck to know if those posts are supposed to be bearing on the actual slab or not. Seems a little unusual. Usually they'll make you put sleeves around the piers so they're floating, so the actual flatwork is floating around those structural piers that's holding the deck up. So we got another, not hole, but kind of a divot next to the concrete patio. That probably needs to be filled up. So I'm going to go on the inside and show you what I found out there. But generally speaking, the drainage looks pretty solid. Couple areas that need to be filled in around the patio, and my suggestion would be next to the side of the foundation here is to finish that up with finished landscaping and put some landscaping fabric, and just make sure that there's no erosion that's gonna come about. So off to the inside. So I'm heading on the inside, but something I wanted to mention is that we always look for roller coaster streets or roads, which would be dipping and rising or heaving of the asphalt or the roads in the community, and looking at the neighbors' driveways to see if there's maybe a common issue or challenge within the neighborhood as far as expansive soils or movement. Plants, I would never advise plants within 4 or 5 feet of the foundation. It doesn't look like it's really caused a problem, but just from what I do, I don't recommend having any plants next to the house. I might be a little anal when it comes to that. me grab my level here. So there is some cracking within the ceilings and some walls on the upper level. There's one right there. Everything seems level and plumb. A little bit of cracking at the apex of the ceiling there at the very top. And then also a split coming down. And that's that side where I saw the hairline cracking on the foundation. Nothing to at least initially concern me. Again here. And downstairs in the basement, you can see the carpet right here is kind of heaved up a little bit. More likely that's probably an expansion joint that's heaved. It is a floating slab, so it's not connected to the foundation. So as long as these walls are floating like they're supposed to be, you can see the bottom plate. Got little pins that they slide on. So if there's pressure coming up, those will actually kind of slide on those pins. And this is what I was saying about the exterior deck posts that were bearing just on that slab. So they put a sleeve around here, and they make you do that so this also can slide up and down the pole, because this is a structural component of the house. Usually holds up a beam, which in this case it does. We have another one over here. That one also has a sleeve. So that looks all fine there, but there has been some movement in this floating slab. Also notice some hairline cracks, and this is that same side of the house right here. Usually when they 45 like that, usually there is some pressure on the wall in order to make it do that. A little bit above the door. The doors seem to close okay, but the gaps are not really where they need to be. So it's hard to know for sure if this side of the house or any of the basement, besides what I showed you in the mechanical room, which was part of the original build, if this basement was an afterthought, that maybe they didn't float the walls, and it could be putting pressure on the upper end of the house without doing some more investigative work. It's hard to say right now. With the age of the house and what I've seen, nothing too alarming, especially on this side of town. I mean, it's almost somewhat expected for a house to move a little bit on this side of town. What we always recommend is kind of keeping an eye on these things and seeing if they change, and then also making sure that the water is draining away from the house, because usually that's the main culprit. When you have expansive soils and those two mix, that's when things start to change and move. So there is a little bit of movement around the house. The slab is not structural, and obviously there's some cosmetic issues. I put a level pretty much on almost every wall in this place, and I haven't seen anything too concerning, but indeed there is a little bit of movement. If you have any questions, need anything, please let me know.